Okay, guys, so we're going to go into our next lesson about pets. So our pets that we were already talking about, the common pets that we did, we're going to review. We talked about having a bird as a pet, some type of fish, a dog, a cat, or a lizard. And there are different things that you need for different animals to be able to take care of them. Today we're going to talk a little bit about picking that pet. Used to, you could go into a pet store and there would be any kind of pet you wanted. Gerbils, rats, snakes, lizards, birds, cats, dogs. Some of your pet stores now, you mainly can just get like rabbits, lizards, anything that stays in a cage. I don't know that you can get a cat anywhere in a store. I would love to hear if anybody has seen a place where you can buy cats and dogs at a store these days. I know the Puppy Zone has a puppy meal with the dogs, but if there's a store, like a legitimate pet store, I would love to know about it because that sounds very interesting to me. I want to learn about new things. So this is about a little girl who goes into this pet store and she sees all these animals and she just cannot make up her mind, okay? So first she says, I pick the turtle. I pick the toad. Oh, the frog. I was trying to read that backwards. Sorry. In my camera. No, I pick the hamster. No, I picked the dog. I think she likes all of them. They're really cute. No, I picked the rabbit. No, the kitten with the ball. No, the goldfish. No, the parrot. No. I picked them all. This book was by Helen Lester and illustrated by Kevin Hawkes. And it really just shows a perspective of what kind of pet do we want. If you don't have a pet, I bet you have an idea about one that you might like, or one that you would love to have, or one that you might have when you have your own family or when you grow up. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some animals that we're not used to having. Maybe they're just not as common, but people do have them. We're going to talk a little bit about some difficulties in having them and what you need to know. So the book that I read before about the cat and the dog, this one is about a horse. It says, a horse is a big animal. A horse can be a friend. It can have a name, and you can ride a horse, and a horse can be a pet. And then this one is about the rabbit. A rabbit is a little animal. A little rabbit can be a friend. A rabbit can hop and jump. It can sit in a hat. A rabbit can be a pet. So, Briseis, you're laying on the stuff. Okay. So, some animals are pets that maybe not all of us can have. For instance, the horse. I can't have a horse if I wanted one. I don't have a good place for a horse to roam. Now, if you remember the horses that are outside of our classroom, they have this huge field. We can't even see the whole field because it goes over the hill. They need to be able to be contained in a fence where they can't get out and get hurt, going into the road because they don't know any better. And do you think that we could just make a little bowl of food like this for a horse and it be full? No way. No way. So we have to be able to have plenty of food for them, plenty of water. Grooming them is probably a difficult task because it's a bigger animal than like a dog. But I know people who have horses as pets. My uncle does, and a couple weeks ago we actually went and fed them apples. And we see the 4 or 5 horses outside of our classroom all the time, right? They're beautiful. The pony loves to play. Another thing, let me find the one that we were talking about just a second ago. Here we go. A rabbit. My best friend used to have a rabbit. A rabbit can stay inside of a cage. I know that some people, my kiddos are playing Hey guys, could you stop screaming? So a bunny rabbit needs a little bit of space to be able to hop around. You're not gonna be able to feed it dog food or cat food or your food other than vegetables. So they would need carrots. They have special food for just rabbits. They liked, when I used to go and feed my best friend's rabbit when she was out of town, she would give him celery, carrots, broccoli, sometimes cauliflower, and they love that. They love eating vegetables. Vegetables, they come in a garden or on a tree. I hope you remember that. We grow them in the garden, right? A lot of them come right, they grow in the ground. We have to pull them up out of the ground like a carrot, right? So here's another animal that I didn't feel like was common, but we do see it, and it's a snake. Okay, you can't go out in your backyard and just pick up a snake and it's your pet, okay? There are special snakes that you're able to keep as a pet. And it's not a kind of pet that you just let slither around your house like a dog does. That's dangerous for your snake, actually, because if he got lost and you can't find him, you can't help him, or he might get out, and then there's your pet, he's gone, right? He has to be in a special cage, and he's not eating dog food, guys. A lot of them eat live mice. Okay, so if that's what you want to do, is feed live mice to a snake, go get you a snake. I'm kidding. So then you've got a gerbil and a rat. One thing that I do know about gerbil, I did have a gerbil growing up. I was told that you can start them off in a small cage, but you've got to keep making the cage bigger and bigger, or they'll drive themselves crazy. And I had 3 in this little cage, and I didn't know any better. And they ate their way through the plastic at the top, chewed the plastic just to get out. So you have to have the appropriate kind of caging. And that's another thing, like we talk about in class. If you don't know, you can go to the site Google, have mom and dad help you research which pet is best for you. Because if you get a pet and then you go, oh my gosh, I didn't know how to take care of this pet, then you may not have what you need for the pet to be able to survive or be a happy pet. So you have to know what your pet needs before you adopt one or you get one. Okay, this is really hard to see, but if you'll notice this picture, it kind of looks like a treasure map, really. But this is actually an ant farm. So what a lot of people do is they get a big tank and they'll fill it with dirt, and then you can see the ants, how they dig underneath the ground in those tunnels, you know those tunnels that we talked about. And we've talked about ants making those tunnels before. So people actually can keep ants as a pet, and you can see the tunnels. It's so cool. This is one, I don't know anybody that owns this, but it's a ferret. Very playful, I've seen. And see, here's the thing. If I wanted to own a ferret, I would have to go online and Google how to take care of this ferret, because I know nothing about them. Nothing at all. So I wouldn't know what to buy for this animal if I want him to be my pet. And so I would want to make sure that I got the right food, the right kind of cage or bed or whatever he needs to stay in, or toys that he likes to play with. I know nothing about them, but this is a pet that a lot of people will get. Here's a pet that's not as common, and I think a lot of times that when this becomes a pet, it's because they were lost from their mommy and somebody just took them in to make sure that they weren't out on their own and that they could survive, and that's a squirrel. Most squirrels are wild. You can see them out in the trees all the time, but sometimes people will adopt a squirrel. They'll take them to the vet, make sure they're okay, and they end up being their pet, and they end up living with them. So that's just more of a least common animal to have as a pet. This one is very rare, but I've seen it, and it's a monkey. You have to have special permission to have a monkey as a pet. Some of them are illegal, which means you can't have them as a pet. For instance, turtles. You're not allowed to have turtles as pets anymore because they carry certain sicknesses and diseases, as far as I know, unless they've changed it. But I know that monkeys can be a pet, but it's just very rare that they are. These are two that are farm animals. We're going to talk about that later on, about farm animals. This is a pig, and this is a hen. Hens lay eggs. That's where we get those eggs, remember? Okay, so we actually do eat both of these animals. We get our chicken nuggets and our chicken from this guy and eggs, and we get our bacon and our ham and any of our pork from this guy. But on a rare occasion, people don't eat these animals, these pets. They end up being their pets. They ended up not being farm animals or animals that they're growing to feed their family. They're actually pets. My assistant last year, Miss Amy, she's got all kinds of chickens that she feeds, and they're her pets, and she loves them. They have their own names. And then I've had a friend before that had a pig as a pet, and his name was Gordy. So these are some less rare, less common animals that you would see in someone's home. I'm going to read a story in the next video, and it's going to be called I Want an Iguana. But I'm going to read it in a different video, so look for that video coming up so you can see this cute book about a kid that decides that he's going to get an iguana, a type of lizard, as a pet. Stay tuned.